call you. So just tell them that you'll be out and about this afternoon, but you can call them back, perhaps around 3 or 4. Would that work? And see what you think. We're on page 5 in your book. Now, once again, with people who have been through a frustrating time, and oftentimes these people are not happy with their agent because it did not sell, and it may not even be their agent's fault, by the way. Sometimes the agent gets blamed for everything, you know, the fact maybe that the market is not so great, or that there's a million houses just like theirs for sale. But sometimes that agent will get the blame for that. Regardless, you need to be supportive, not just with expired listings, but everybody. You know that selling a home rates right up there in the top 5 most stressful events in people's lives. Anything to do with buying or selling a home. Obviously, things like death and divorce are higher up in the list, but moving is in that top 5. So being supportive and knowing how to be empathetic, or at least appear to be empathetic, is important in our business. You know, I do the same thing now in the estate sale business. I'm working with a lot of older people, and I think that one of the reasons I do so well is that I know how to talk to them, and I appear to be very empathetic. Now, I've heard the stories over and over, you know, seeing the same situation over and over, that quite frankly, you know, when I leave the house, sometimes I wonder who that was in there talking, because it's just, I've learned to be empathetic and to come across as empathetic to their needs. But when you hear the same old stories and same old problems over and over, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other at a certain point. But you can never let that show. You've got to be supportive, use supportive statements. Some supportive statements on page 5. I can appreciate what you've been through. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Golly, that must be frustrating. Use your empathetic, your supportive statements, but then you need to give people hope. When people are, you know, down and you're being supportive and understanding, oh, so you didn't get them to go and move closer to your children because your home did not sell on time. I am so sorry to hear that. But then give some motivation. You have to give them hope, or why would they try again? Let me ask you a question, though. If I could show you a way that we could get you to Tennessee so you could be close to your daughter and help her with her children, would it be worth 30 minutes of your time? That's all it would take. I have some ideas that I think will get this property sold, and I'll show you exactly what I intend to do, what you can expect from me, and there's no obligation on your part. If you like it, fine. If you don't, that's okay too. So we're going to be supportive and then give them hope with motivating statements. All right, any questions up until this point before we get into all of the objections you're going to hear from the expired listing? Any questions?
Cricket. Cricket sound.
All right, then turn to page 6 and let's take a look at it. Now, on this page, you will see that there are answers to the objections that are given. And I've never read them. I won't read them because I want to give you my answer. I'm going to give you, in some cases, several different answers, but I didn't want to read those because I don't want that to become my answer. So you have an extra one as well. And I could very well be saying the same thing or the same gist of the conversation. But we'll one by one, because this is what you're going to hear when, sometimes you hear it when you're in the home for an appointment, but oftentimes you'll hear it even at the door. So today, we're going to assume that they throw this stuff out at you when you're at the door asking for an appointment with them, asking them if you can come in and talk to them. All right, let's take the first one. Well, wait a minute. My last agent never advertised my home. Are you going to advertise my home? All right, I want you to be careful on this one, because when people say advertise, they're usually referring to print advertising like newspapers, homes magazines. Most of our offices, many of our offices, no longer do print advertising. And that's simply because it does not work any longer. We encourage our brokers to run an ad and see how many calls come into the office from that ad. It has gotten lower and lower and lower in the recent years, because 90% of the people today are starting their home buying search on the internet. So they're not going to the newspaper. Newspapers are dying in most areas. I know that the Mobile Register, which has been around for 100 years, went from a 7-day newspaper, we're down to 2 days, and it's gone from the normal size newspaper to a 3/4 size version, because they don't have enough advertising in it. No one's advertising in it anymore. And it just, every month or so, it seems that it gets worse. So pretty soon there's not going to be a Mobile Register. Now they're trying the thing online, where the newspaper's online. But once again, most people don't even bother to go there. They just go right onto the internet to look at real estate. They go to Realtor.com, they go to Trulia, they go to Zillow, they go to Weichert.com, One.com, whatever. So, if you're in an office that does still do print advertising, then I want you to say, absolutely, we will be advertising your home. We advertise in several different newspapers, and if I had 30 minutes of your time, I'll actually sit down with you and tell you exactly when, where, and how often you can expect to see your home advertised. You have some time right now, or no? What about later this evening? Would that work better for you? Ask for your appointment. You answer the objection, and that's your key to ask for an appointment. Don't just answer their objection, because even if they're satisfied with the answer, now you've lost your opportunity to get an appointment. So, my last agent never advertised my home. Will Weichert advertise my home? Absolutely, we will be advertising your property. And if I had 30 minutes of your time, I'll sit down with you and show you exactly when, where, and how often. In fact, I'll even write the ad in advance and make sure you've approved it, so that you know what we'll be saying about your property. Now, if you're in an office that does not do print advertising, then obviously you're going to have to word it differently. Ma'am, we will be promoting your home in many different ways. And if I have 30 minutes of your time, I'll share with you exactly when, where, and how often you can expect to see your home promoted. I'll show you all the different ways we'll be doing so that you'll know what you can expect from me. You have some time right now? I do. Ask for the appointment. The worst that can happen is that they can say, well, I don't know, let me ask you another question. And they may ask you another question, which you will answer, and then seek an appointment again. We think we should wait a while before we put it back on the market. All right, this is June, right? We think we should wait until after the summer's over, in the year. It's the first of the year, and you're talking to an expired listing, and they say, oh, it's so cold. It's gotten so bitter cold. I just know that no one's going to be looking in these cold months. We've talked about it, my husband and I think we're going to wait until spring. It's spring. You know what? I think we're going to wait until school's out. We've got a lot going on right now with our kids, and I think this summer, more people will be looking at homes while their kids are off from school, so we're going to wait until the summer. We're going to wait until the interest rates. We're going to wait until things get better. Love that one. We're going to wait. For some reason, they're always got a reason they're going to wait. Now, am I going to cover them all? Yeah, I'm going to cover them all. I'm going to take each and every one and handle it for you. Let's start with the fact that it is June and the listing has expired. They think that summer's not a good time. They're going to wait until fall. Well, you could. However, summer is when a lot of people do move because many of them are off from work. Sometimes they want to move and get in place before school starts in the fall. Often we find people who want to move into a neighborhood to give their kids time to get acquainted with other kids there before school starts in the fall. And they take vacations in the summer, oftentimes to areas where they want to live. If I were you, I'd keep the home on the market right now. It's summer. They think they should wait. I'm sorry, they just did that one. It's fall. They think they should wait until the first of the year because of the holiday. Well, you might think that would be better, but when you think about it, right now, it's fall, it's September. People start to look and try to get into a home oftentimes before the holidays. They want to be in place in a new home so they can have their first holiday there. Not to mention that sometimes they have family in town who they can turn to help them in making a decision, a buying decision. And when does your home look more beautiful than during the holidays? If I were you, I'd keep my house on the market right now versus January when it's going to be bitter cold. All right, it is January, their home just expired, or February, their home just expired. They're thinking about waiting until the spring. You could, but think about it right now. There are fewer homes on the market, and in the spring, we get a huge influx of homes on the market because everybody thinks, spring is the time to sell. You're going to have a lot more competition then that you don't have right now. And believe me, people who really need to move, people who are really motivated, are looking at houses all year long. And if they're looking right now, they're definitely motivated. If I were you, I'd keep my home on the market right now. It's spring. They're thinking about waiting until summer. Well, you could, but I don't know that I would do that if I were you, because spring is our hottest market. It's our biggest market. There's more homes sold in the spring than in any other time of the year. So, I think if I were you, I'd keep it on the market right now. They're going to wait until interest rates come down.
Oh, okay. Didn't
Sorry.
see anything.
Well, I don't know that I would risk that, because if anything, the talk is that interest rates are going to start to move up. In fact, we've seen a little bit of that this past year, and there's more of a possibility that it's going to move upwards than backwards. We have been at our lowest interest rates in history, and we still are. But as it starts to move up, every 1/4 of 1% that it moves up rules out a whole bunch of people who could have afforded your home and now cannot. And I wouldn't want to risk that if I were you. I'd probably keep my house on the market right now while we're at historical lows in interest rates. wait until things get better. I love that one. I always want to say, well, do you mind telling me when that's going to be? You're not going to hear that as much now as you would have 2 or 3 years ago. But 2 or 3 years ago, this would be how you would handle it. Well, 3 or 4 years prior to now, I heard people say the very same thing. And those who didn't go ahead and sell their homes then continued to see their homes lose value. And now they're at much lower prices than they were even 3 to 4 years ago when they thought it was bad then. There's no crystal ball here. We don't know what's going to happen in this world today. And anything that does happen can affect the real estate market. So we know what's going on right now. Sales have picked up. Homes are selling again. And if I were you and need to sell my home, I'd keep it on the market right now.
She needs an 8-ball.
All right. We're going to move on unless you have any questions. Weichert agent. We've changed our minds. We're not going to sell after all. Be careful on this one, because the tendency on our part is to accept that at face value and walk away. So the tendency is to say, oh, okay, well, here's my card. Let me know if you change your mind. And then 2 days later, we see it relisted with Prudential and wonder what happened. Well, what happened is that was a smoke screen. It was one of those automatic reflex responses, like we do when the phone rings at 6 o'clock in the evening and someone says, hi, I'm doing a survey. Oh, I'm busy right now. I'm getting ready to eat dinner. And you ate dinner an hour before. It's a way to get rid of you. They don't know what to say. They don't know whether you're going to be pushy. They weren't expecting you, kind of thing. So sometimes people just throw this stuff out. So here's what you say. No problem. Can I ask, though, why were you originally planning on selling? Where were you going to go as your home sold? If you can find out what their plans were, that will tell you whether or not this is a smoke screen or not. If they say, well, my husband was going to take a transfer to New Jersey, but it didn't work out after all anyway, and we've decided to stay here. All right, that could be a legitimate, we're not going to sell. On the other hand, if she says, well, my husband's being transferred to New Jersey, then guess what? That hasn't changed. Well, we were going to buy a home over in Lakewood, but I guess now we're just not going to be able to do that. We were going to move to Tennessee to be closer to my daughter. Her husband has left her, and she has 3 little children, and now she has to get a job. We were going to help out. You see, those things still exist. So I want you to move forward and say, if I can show you how we could still get you to Tennessee so you can be with your daughter, would it be worth 30 minutes of your time? There's no obligation on your part whatsoever. And but I have some ideas as to how to get this house sold. Do you have some time right now? Or would later be better? Don't forget to use the no obligation when people seem to be on the fence or nervous about saying yes. If they believe you, they often will go on your side of the fence because now they feel free to just